What's up, guys? Welcome back to Roensch Capital Charts. Today we're taking a look at Nvidia, ticker symbol NVDA, on a variety of time frames in anticipation of the next trading day, Friday, February 9th. Well, Nvidia stock here today, unfortunately unable to hold on to that $700 a share kind of like target that we've been watching the last couple of days. That's fine. Listen, it's only down 0.65%, down about 4.5 points a share. And to be fair, the stock did spend a lot of time, really more than it ever has, above $700 a share here today. We discussed yesterday how we just barely closed in that region. And today we spent, I would say, the majority of, or at least half, right, of our market time today above $700 a share, which is, I would say, a big milestone. But we're still looking for that to claim. So let's zoom in here on the 1 minute chart and take a look. By the way, guys, if you get value out of these videos and you appreciate me doing Nvidia every single day, let me know in the comment section, and hope to see you subscribe as well. Our goal is 1,000 in the next 2 weeks. I think we can get there with your help. Well, taking a look at just the intraday movement, because really I'm always looking for intraday opportunities as well as the bigger picture on these names. So Nvidia, a great stock to watch for intraday opportunities on today. You know, I thought we might end up getting kind of a rejection setup. Never cleaned up quite enough for me here today on Nvidia. But by the way, guys, if you want to get my personal intraday scalp setup alerts, some swing trade setup alerts, human verified unusual options activity, maybe even some platinum one-on-one coaching, take a look at those 4 membership options at that first link in the pinned comment. Over time, the price does go up, so get grandfathered in, and I hope to see you join. Let's now take a look at the 5 minute chart and look at the volume, how they correlated with the moves here today. So you can see, as expected, big volume off the open. That's not unexpected. We have that ever so common U shape, okay? We did get a little bit of bump in volume on this pump here, kind of like mid-morning, which is good to see for the bulls. But then later in the day, on this kind of fade in the stock, we saw kind of a just slightly lower pump in volume to the downside. I mean, listen, I think anything definitive here on the 5 minute chart in terms of volume would be kind of a force today. But just understand, you know, we're looking for these commonalities or hints each and every day. Today on Nvidia, yeah, we had a little bit of bullish bias over here, slightly less, but still worth mentioning, bearish bias over here. But I'm going to go ahead and say that there's not a whole heck of a lot of data we can pull out of there today. So let's get more contextual, because the 30 minute chart, this 50 period, the self-fulfilling prophecy levels, right, incredibly relevant here tomorrow. So we are currently sitting just below that 50 period. It's creeping its way toward that $700 a share level. So listen, here on the 30 minute, 2 things. From a bullish perspective, I want that 50 period to get above $700 a share, and I want the stock to also reclaim that, meaning it would also reclaim $700 a share. If I'm a bear, I'm looking at this saying, I don't want that 50 period to get above 700, right? I want that to sit kind of right around 700, and I want the stock to reject as hard as possible off of that 50 period, treating both of those levels as resistance levels, fading as hard away as possible down back toward that 200 period, okay, which is currently sitting right around 671, 672 ish, for those of you who might just be listening. So moving on here, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart now. You can see here that the moving averages, the self-fulfilling prophecies, right, they're going to take their time getting upside even more on the 4-hour. It's a longer time frame. These things move a little bit slower the longer time frame you go. All right, the stock itself, you know, this kind of double top up in the high, like 7 to 710 range, becomes more clear here on the 4-hour. But listen, I mean, this 50 period on the 4-hour, that closest level, is about a 6.6% move to the downside away. So yeah, I'm watching it. If we were to see a test, obviously I'd want to see that hold as a support level. And if I'm a bear, I want to see that break to the downside. But you know, this is a day-to-day video. We're looking primarily at tomorrow, and that's nearly a 7% move away. So I'm keeping an eye on the 4-hour, but I'm not staring at it all day long. All right, let's move on to arguably the most important chart of all, which is the daily, and start talking about what I think matters the most here tomorrow. So listen here, it starts to become very clear okay, that we've slowed down right ahead of $700 a share. So the daily chart puts it all into perspective. Yeah, that 50 period on 30-minute is becoming highly important, but it also is doing so because of where it sits, right around $700 a share. So here's what I'm watching on the daily. If I'm a bull, my number one priority, get above 7, spend as much regular trading hour time up above there as possible, and hold that $700 level. As a support, I don't care if we trade sideways, I don't care if we test it 10 times. As long as we hold that as a support, from a bullish perspective, I'm happy. If I'm a bear, I'm a bit more aggressive. I want 700 to reject as hard as possible and fade as quickly as possible back down towards 650. If I'm a bear, I don't care if it's because of news, I don't care if it's psychology, technicals, I don't care. Just get away from 7 to the downside. Down towards 650, down toward ideally that technical range that we've kind of laid out here between 600 and 630. Okay, that's what I'm thinking if I'm a bear, and I think a lot of bears are likely thinking the same thing. The reason from a bearish perspective, and bulls, listen up here too, you wouldn't want to see 700 hold is because 700 hold would be incredibly encouraging to a lot of bulls and incredibly discouraging to a lot of bears. So if you're a bear, you're looking at this and you're like, well, how can we discourage the bulls as much as possible? Don't let them claim 7, right? Fade hard from 7. That'll discourage a lot of bulls and encourage a lot of bears, okay? Implied volatility here is creeping up. Just be aware of that here in the last couple of months. So if you are looking at buying options right now, you are paying a little bit of Vega premium. There's a slightly higher risk of a little bit of IV crush if IV falls to the downside. Just understand that. If you own contracts that you bought in the last couple of months, you've likely experienced a little bit of IV pump as of late. There's your culprit right here. All right, let's now look at the options bias here in the chain. And we have some bias here today. 1.24 million, just about, contracts traded today. Great sample size. We can get some good data out of there. 732,000 calls. 505,000 puts. So bullish bias on the overall call put ratio. What are those short-term speculators thinking? That 0 to 20 delta, the short dated out of the money contracts. Almost 221,000 calls and 258,000 puts. We're actually seeing just slightly bearish bias in the short term. Okay. The longer term, the mid to longer term in the money contracts though, 61 to 100 delta range, we're seeing almost 100,000 calls collectively, and we're seeing just about 20,000 puts collectively. So clearly, we're seeing overall call put ratio, bullish lean, short-term speculation ratio, slight bearish lean, and mid to longer term in the money ratio, pretty heavy bullish lean. Listen, if you guys liked the video, hope to see you drop a like. Helps out tremendously with the algorithm, you have no idea. And I'll see you in the next one.